Hi everybody, welcome to Positive Energy with Crystals. My name is Hillary, and today we're going to try something new. I'm going to match my entire tarot and oracle collection with a crystal. Now don't worry, I don't have very many cards, so this won't take long. I've seen other YouTube channels match like books and movies and other stuff like that with their tarot decks, and I thought, why can't I match a crystal with the tarot deck? Excuse me. So I'm going to match my entire collection of tarot and oracle cards with a crystal from my collection. Now, I need to remind you, I'm not a professional tarot and oracle reader. I only read for myself and occasionally for my husband. I'm very much a novice tarot reader, so keep that in mind. I'm also gonna match the energy that I currently feel with my deck and the crystal. Now that means several weeks that it could be different, but this is with my work with the deck and my work with the crystals, how I feel they currently match, if that makes sense. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go. If you like it, let me know. And as I get more decks, I might do an update on ones that have changed or something like that. But let me know in the comments what you think. If you think it was stupid or if you thought it was great. Either way. So we're going to start with this deck. I had to turn it over because the glare was kind of messing. Maybe if I tip it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so this is the Wisdom Healing Oracle, the Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle by Judy Hall. This is, I don't use this deck a lot anymore, but this is the deck, it's my very first deck. When I first kind of was getting into divination decks, I didn't really understand tarot. And what I needed to do was connect with a deck that, well, was about crystals. And then kind of learn like layouts and the process of doing a reading. And this deck did it. I connected with it right away because it's crystals. You know, that's my thing, is crystals. And so I got this deck and I started working with it and I fell in love. And it, you know, I was getting readings that made sense. And it was great. And so then I bought more decks. So this deck, I'm gonna just flip through it. I almost didn't do this deck because, you know, it's made up of crystals. That's its thing is crystals. But I decided that it does have a general energy, you know, and you can use this deck. You can use one of these cards and replace in a place of a crystal. So I kind of was thinking about it. And I came up with Labradorite. And this is my Labradorite heart. And I picked it because it's the one that shows the shiny. You see all the colors. And that's kind of what Labradorite is known for. I've got a piece that's not all this pretty rainbowy color. But Labradorite is good for confidence. It helps with clairvoyance and psychic abilities. It's calming. Um, it's useful for change, helps get rid of fears, helps with anxiety, stress, protection. And this deck gave me the confidence to learn tarot. You know, I've got um several. I've got, I think this is my first oracle deck, and technically I've got 3 oracle decks. And then I've got a Lenormand deck, and then the rest are just regular RWS. Um, so this deck gave me that confidence and helped me understand how to do readings, how to interpret the readings, stuff like that. And it made me less anxious about the process um, and learning. And you know, the readings were accurate, and I just it's hard to explain. it 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 got me going, and um, it gave me the courage to go on with other decks. So, and I love Judy Hall. She was an amazing lady, and just knows so much about crystals and their energies, and so I love her and all of her. I don't own all of her books, but I own a few, and I've learned a lot. And I've learned a lot from watching videos that she's done during talks and stuff. And so, Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle, I matched up with Labradorite. And honestly, I think that's a pretty accurate one. I don't know that that will change. I'm not going to say 100% that I would never change this pairing, but I'm this one I felt very strong about. All right, let me switch decks. All right, next one. This one is called the Chrysalis Tarot. Now this was a hard one because I want to love this deck. Look at this. The artwork is amazing, and that's pretty much what sold me on it. Now I do have, here's the little white book, but I do have the bigger book that goes into more detail, and apparently it is packed, like packed, and I don't know where it is right now, but the little white book does its job. But look at this artwork; it's beautiful, and now the way I pick decks is I watch a ton of reviews on YouTube. I read reviews on Amazon. I do a lot of research before I purchase a deck. And all the reviews seemed, the readers seemed happy with the deck, but I want to love this deck so bad, but I just can't connect with it. But for some reason, I just can't let it go either. And I don't know why. It almost kind of feels too wishy-washy when I do a reading. And that's wishy-washy isn't really the word either, but I don't know. I just don't connect with it. So, I matched it with, I don't know if you can see, rose quartz. Because rose quartz, I also cannot connect with for some reason. I want to, and I know it's a popular one, especially for self-love, unconditional love, positivity, calming. Um, so they're similar in that I feel calm working with both Rose Quartz and the Chrysalis Tarot. But then afterwards, I'm super confused. And I don't know. It's just, Rose Quartz is beautiful. And the artwork of this, look at that. The artwork of this deck is beautiful. And I love it. But there's Tiger. I just can't connect with either one. But at the same time, I I feel like I need to keep both. And then I shouldn't get rid of either one. But I kind of don't know how to work with either one either. So it's a confusing deck and a confusing stone, and they're both beautiful, and I can't get rid of either one. There's another tiger. Everything for tigers. So that is the Chrysalis Tarot. It's so beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna switch decks real quick. This next one is I don't know exactly if it's the Gilded Tarot. What I did after I got comfortable with the the um, the Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle, I started Googling. Oh, the glare is really bad. I started Googling best decks, best beginner decks, best decks for beginners, stuff like that. And this one almost always fell in my search. The guidebook is awesome. It gives so much information. Now, if you're wanting to learn reversals, the guidebook doesn't have reversal stuff. But when you're beginning, and honestly, I don't. Well, no, there is one deck I read reversals with, and we'll get to that one. But so from what I understand, and I did some searches of the images, this is the Gilded Tarot, but it's a little bit different. The images are, for one, it's got the big border. I think it's so that they could put the name of the card really big. But some of the images are a little bit different. Like I think this card you can see more. You know how here it looks a little cropped. I think I didn't really to compare them, exactly, but it's a traditional RWS deck. This is the one that I learned how to read the RWS system with. I can't connect with a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The artwork, I can't connect with it. But this one, it's probably because I have an art degree, and so I'm kind of picky about the artwork part of it, which is probably why I fell in love with the Chrysalis Tarot, but just can't connect with it. So this is also the only deck that I've actually modified. See, I edged it. The white edging bugged the heck out of me. So I took a Sharpie and did the edges. This is a dependable, easy to read. It's pretty. I use this deck for the big stuff because I know that I'll understand what it's saying. I used it a lot when we were deciding if we were going to move, during the planning process, um, since we've moved, since we've been here. This is when I need to know that, you know, a definite um, a definite answer. This is the deck I go to. It's super shiny though. I'm trying to get it so you can see it, but it's so pretty. Now this one, I think this is one of them too that um, the image is cropped down. I think it in the actual Gilded Tarot, I think this one goes out more, but it's still an amazing deck, and I love it. So, um, the crystal I matched up with is honey calcite, because, and the main reason is because honey calcite is good for um that when you're stuck in your head. If if you haven't watched my honey calcite video, go watch it, and you'll kind of probably understand more. um, this deck gets me out of my head. It it helps me from overthinking things. It just kind of, I don't know. It helps motivate me. It helps with decision making. Helps with setting goals. Gives me that clear answer that I need. I want to go through this entire deck, but I also don't want to take up most of the time. I'm not trying to do like full on deck reviews. I just want to show how they match up. Okay. Okay. So that is what I call my Gilded Tarot, even though it's not officially named that. I think it's just called the Easy Tarot in this form, but it's the Gilded Tarot. So that's the Gilded Tarot and honey calcite. All right, let's switch. Next deck is Supernatural. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this deck because of the pips. And just so you know, this is the deck that I read reversals. So, and I didn't go through the deck beforehand to fix it. Um, I know it gets a lot of bad reviews because of all the pips. And for this show, they could have, they had enough characters and scenarios and stuff like that they could have done a full deck. But, and I don't know if it's because I really like the show, but this deck, I don't know. It's just I connected with it. I connected with it right away. And it's the only deck I read reversals. And I don't know if it's because the guidebook, well, I've got other guidebooks that have reversals in it too, but this one just, it was kind of natural to read the reversals. It's a crappy deck to shuffle, so I don't, it's also the only deck that I don't riffle shuffle. But I do trust it enough that for my husband's yearly reading for 2022, this is the deck I used, and it's been spot on so far. I do a monthly card, and it it's been super accurate this entire year. Um, it's oops, it's a really grounding deck, which sounds kind of weird, but I don't know. That's just how it feels to me. It's grounding. So I matched it with. Let me see if I can get that focus. Agate. And I got two different pieces here. To me, agate it's a super grounding stone, and it's a supportive stone. It brings a sense of peace and support when you feel scattered and overwhelmed, and it also helps with anxiety and stress. And this deck, it kind of does the same thing. That um when I just kind of feel scattered and I just need like a bring me down, or not bring me down, but a calming, grounding reading, I pull this deck. But I will admit, um, now that I want pips, they're not going to come up. I will admit that the pips are annoying. They could have done so much with it, but this is part of those decks that everybody says that they could have done better with. But I like it. I like that it's really matte too. It feels soft, and it's crappy to shuffle, but it's easy to pull cards from. Okay, most of them are going to be pips. Of course, I say that, and now they're face cards. So that is Supernatural, and you can see I definitely read reversals in this one. That is Supernatural and Agate. Quick go through. High Priestess. That makes me laugh. Okay, so let me go grab another deck. The next deck I'm upset about. This is the Lightseers Tarot. But my deck is a counterfeit. And it makes me upset because, I did my research on how to make sure not to end up with a counterfeit deck. And the description was everything that it should have been. I know it's counterfeit because, one, the crappy tuck box, and it's got the QR code instead of a guidebook, which the guidebook was one of the things I really wanted. But I really love the artwork. And I did a lot of research before buying the deck. And when I showed up, I was so bummed. The cardstock quality is really bad too. And the size is really awkward. But it's also kind of a nice having a smaller deck to travel with. But I started working with it anyway because the artwork is the focus. I watched. I you can see how flustered I am. I couldn't decide if I liked this deck at first, and I watched a lot of videos on YouTube. Anytime anybody mentioned it on Facebook, I would read everything everybody com- commented about it. You know, let's turn this over so I'm not flipping them over too. So when I finally decided to go for it, see, I'm really picky about artwork, and that's one of the reasons I have a hard time choosing decks is because I'm so picky about artwork. But this one, it's awesome, and I don't need to look up the meanings as much because I get it, um, to a point. Sometimes I still have to. But anyway, so I chose, oops, bumped the microphone, lapis lazuli. I should grab the tower. If you haven't watched that video about buying and selling houses, go watch it and you can see more about that one. I chose lapis lazuli because it's great for communication, for clear communication, and it helps you trust your intuition. And the artwork I feel in Light Seers does that. It's clear, and for the most part, I trust what I get from a reading without looking at, answers, or the meanings. But it's just, I'm so frustrated that I got a counterfeit deck, and I don't know how I could have. I guess the price. I think I paid $16 for it, and I guess that should have been the first clue that if it's under $20 for this deck, then it's probably not the right deck. Lapis lazuli is also good for inner peace, motivation, problem solving, and since the artwork is so good, from the original deck, I feel that it's a good inner peace motivational deck, and good for problem solving. I use this deck. I don't really, for the big questions, I don't use this deck just because it being counterfeit, and because I have a problem with that. I don't use it for the big stuff, but kind of more of the little type stuff questions. I can't think of any right now, but I'll use this deck because the artwork is amazing, and that was kind of what sold me on it. It was watching all the videos and seeing the artwork, and it's a more modern deck. Doesn't have that same feeling that a traditional RWS deck has, that with the artwork that I just can't connect with. There's a very loud airplane going over, so sorry if you hear that. So that is my counterfeit Light Seers deck and lapis lazuli. All right, now let's get to a real deck. The next deck is the only Lenormand deck I have. I am still very new at reading Lenormand. It's still, I can do like a 3-card reading, but the thought of doing one of those big, huge, like 9 or bigger, kind of makes me nervous. This deck, I wanted a good deck that was easy to learn Lenormand on, and I think this deck did pretty good. Um, it it's very clear, you know, you can tell tree, fish, um, what everything is. It also has, there's a few cards that are, um, like there's a male rider, and then there's a couple different birds and a couple different snakes. I can't think of the others right now. But anyway, so um, when I use this deck right now, anyways, I have specific answers that I want. Um, like when we were getting ready to move, I wanted to know, um, should we start a business once we got here, or should we work for somebody else? And this deck is really good for those this or that kind of questions. Um, what my answers came with, um, was working for someone else would be okay, but we'd get by, and um, but starting our own business would make us happy. So because of that, we've started it. We haven't, you know, when you're starting a new business, it goes slow. So we're in that slow phase right now. But it kind of helps us with it, you know, having those two different options. Um, or you know, when we have to make choices between those two different things, um, it helps with the planning process, which um, is why I matched it up with Mookaite. I don't know why, and I don't know if it's actually a property, but Mookaite, I just feel it helps in the planning process of lots of different things. Um, it's a good stone to help you see all of your options in life. It challenges you, um, to take the intimidating stuff and make it into an opportunity to work towards. So to set goals and point you in the right direction. Um, Mukai also brings optimism, and this deck showed us a lot of optimism when we were planning the move, planning the business, stuff like that. Um, I I have to be honest, I don't work with this one a lot, just because it takes a lot more. This one I have to look up and then really kind of think about stuff. So it's not just a quick reading type deck like or the regular RWS type decks and Oracle decks. This one I have to put a lot of thought into, and I think that's just because I'm not used to it. You know, there's less cards to have to remember the meanings of, but it's also, I don't know, it's more in depth, and so I don't use this one as much as I should or that I want to. Um, when I was, this is one of those Lisa Pepez made me do it decks. I'll put a link to her channel down in the description, and I'll also put a link to um, all the decks that I can find on Amazon in the description too. So if you're look wanting to look at some of these decks, look in the description for those. So anyway, um, I was wanting an easy deck to learn Lenormand on, and Lisa Pepez um, did a video about this deck, and she's brought it up several times that this is an easy deck to learn on, and it's true. It was a very easy deck to learn on, but I think I don't really connect with Celtic very much, Celtic stuff, and I think that's one. Whoops, sorry. One of the reasons um, I don't pull this deck as much. I've got a couple, um, or one, I guess, deck on my wish list that I think I kind of connect more with. So maybe if I got that deck, I might use the Lenormand system more. Just because it's, in a way, it's easier, but also it's harder for me. Um, it gives very specific, here's your answer kind of answers, um, which I like. But at the same time, you have to really, you know, even with the three cards, you have to really think about how these three cards go together, and the answer that makes sense from these three cards. And I'm not going to interpret this right now because it would take me forever, and that's not what this video is about. So that is the Celtic Lenormand and Mookite. All right, let's switch decks. All right, this next deck I am so excited to talk about. This is my newest deck. I haven't had it very long. This is another Lisa Papez made me do it, and I am so happy she did. It's the Trick or Treaters. This guidebook is amazing, and I can't zoom out far enough for you to see how amazing it is. It's super shiny too. Sorry about that. This Now, it's not just Lisa Papez. I watched a lot of videos before I bought this deck. Just watching all the videos, the videos made me feel happy, and this deck makes me feel happy, and I fell in love with it. And of course, it's super blurry. I'm sorry, I've got a new camera, and I'm still kind of figuring out the focus stuff. So I fell in love with it watching everybody's videos, and it was right before my birthday, so my husband said I should get it, and I said okay. It's just, it makes me happy and hyper, and it's just like these. I can connect with. I know that's the Addams Family, and that, before I forget, the Hierophant in here is Mr. Rogers, which is the perfect Hierophant card, I think. So I matched it up with, I'm going to go unfocus for a little bit, Bumblebee Jasper, because this stone makes me happy and hyper and just all the good stuff. Bumblebee Jasper helps you maintain a positive and upbeat attitude through daily stresses. And pretty much all of October, I used this deck, mostly because it was new and because it's perfect. I'm going to use this deck year round, but it's a good one for Halloween. And it made the daily stresses just seem so unimportant, not a big deal. Now here's the Fool card. Here's where he starts out. Here's the monsters. It's the monsters. Where was I? I get so just happy. Dr. Seuss with Thing 1 and Thing 2. Romeo and Juliet. Bumblebee Jasper also helps prevent sadness and depression. It's motivational, helps with courage, increases self-esteem, helps you accept change. And it's a happy stone and a happy deck. And I love them both. They both make me happy. And a little giddy. There's Beauty and the Beast. And, they're really easy. Here's Hocus Pocus, girls. They're really easy to understand. And the artwork, it's a zombie, but I know it's a costume. Usually I hate costume type decks and Halloween decks just because I don't like the gore and masks and all that. But this deck just, it's the good parts of Halloween, I guess. And the messages in the cards are pretty easy. Oh, here we go. Here's the Hierophant. It's Mr. Rogers. That is the perfect Hierophant card. So, they just, they're great. I don't know what to say except they both make me super happy. The deck and Bumblebee Jasper. Elvira. I'm going to finish going through this deck because this one, you need to see all of it. Wizard of Oz. Cruella and her puppies. And then here's our little trick-or-treater, all happy. Done trick-or-treating. So, oops. That is the Trick-or-Treaters Tarot and Bumblebee Jasper. They both make me super happy, and I love them both. And I use them both year-round. Well, I'm going to. I just got this deck, so I will use it. All right, I got one more. It's actually 2 decks combined, so we're almost done. Let me go switch real quick. Last deck. Well, it's decks because, once again, Lisa Pepez made me do it, and I am so happy she did this one too. It's the Messenger Oracle and the Seeker Oracle combined. Now these are, I've got them in 2 stacks here just so that I can go through them. Let me see. Let's see how to do this. That doesn't mean that this is the Seeker's Oracle and this is the Messenger's Oracle. They're combined. Lisa did it. Let me flip these over. That's easier. Lisa did it quite a while ago. Well, maybe not too long ago. Anyway. And when she did it, I fell in love. I love this, I say this Oracle deck, but it's actually 2. It's 2 separate decks, but the backs are the same. So, you know, unless I actually go through the books, I don't know which one's which. I did one time, I did one, like I was talking about with the Wild Unknown. I did one of those month-long, where it gives you the question and you pull a card every day. I did that with, and I kind of kept track, and most of them came from the Messenger Oracle. So I think I kind of connect with that deck more, but they work so good together. You can't tell which one is which unless you actually go through the books to separate them out. Now I like to do deck interviews when I get a new deck, and I did them separately, and I did them together. And the message I got from that is they needed to be together, that they would give me better answers together, and they would work great together. Now, I will admit, shuffling sucks. It's hard to shuffle this many cards. They're matte, so they slide easy, and you can see they're still, I haven't had these very long. I think I got them right before we moved, so it's still a fairly new deck. I haven't really broke it in much, but it works good as a huge deck. And I interviewed them separately too, and from what I got was they would work separately, but they work better together. So Um, it's they've got a protective energy, calming, grounding, balance, all the good feels. So, um, I matched 2 decks with 2 stones because these are my 2 favorite: Banded Amethyst and Black Tourmaline. And the feeling I get from these decks is exactly how I feel when I work with those two. See, white tiger. Anyway, sorry. Um, the feeling I get when I work with these 2 decks is how I feel when I work with those 2 stones together. I think I've mentioned in every single video I've done that Amethyst and Black Tourmaline are my favorites. And this is my favorite decks to work with. Amethyst is good to help break negative patterns, relieve stress, ease frustration, calming. Black Tourmaline is my favorite protection stone. It helps get rid of stress, and it's also grounding. And that's what this deck makes me feel. These decks make me feel super grounded. The messages: open your mind, it is time, we are all connected, challenge your perception. The guidebooks are very good. Both are. One, I can't remember which one. One's a little more detailed than the other, but they're just, the messages you get are so spot on. Whether you're pulling cards from Messenger or Seeker, it's just, it makes me feel good. I guess that's how I explain it. And same with Amethyst and Black Tourmaline together. They make me feel good, and they make me feel grounded and supportive, and they take all the negative stuff away and help point out not only what I need to know, but the positive stuff going on. So, what did you think of this video? Let me know in the comments. I had fun doing it and coming up with it, but like I said, if I did this like 6 months down the road, some of these decks would probably be paired up differently. This one and Bumblebee Jasper, the trick-or-treaters, and maybe a couple of the others would probably stay the same, but I don't know. So let me know what you think, what you thought down in the comments. Let me know what you would have paired with, if you've worked with any of these decks. What crystal would you have paired with any of them? Not just these here, but any of the decks that I showed today. I don't know. Now I'm all calm because of this deck and those crystals. I'm just like, I'm okay now. I was really nervous about doing this video because I don't know how you guys are what you guys are gonna feel about it or think about it. But now I'm just like, you know what? I had fun. I'm sure it's okay. So let me know if you have any questions to put those down in the comments. Like I said, I'll definitely put a link to Lisa's. She does tarot and kind of some other witchy type stuff, mostly tarot. She's really good at explaining stuff. She does a bunch of teaching videos and deck reviews, and she's creating her own deck, and she works with crystals some too, and she's a good one when you're wanting to learn stuff or deck reviews. She's really good for those. And I will put a link for the ones that I can find. I'll try to make sure I pick the real light seers, but there's no guarantee. I'm still upset about that one. But anyway, we're not going to get into that because right now we're calm and feel good. So let me know. Be sure to subscribe so you know when the next video comes out. Like the video if you liked it. Tell me also what you thought, what you would have done, or what you would have paired up, and I will see you next time. Bye.